Even though the college football season just ended, the gamesmanship is truly only just beginning. With National Signing Day just being a few weeks away, we really need to talk about the top 10 classes in the nation and where there could be some wiggle room on the back end. But let's be honest, at the top end, this really is a two-headed race. So before we hop into that, y'all, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I do constant college football content, constant recruiting content, whether that be player reviews, film reviews, or play calling reviews, and I'd love to have you along for the journey. If you enjoyed the video, like the video, and I'm going to pin a comment down below, and I want y'all to comment and let me know who you think is going to finish with the #1 recruiting class in the nation. Right now, it's a two-headed race between Alabama and Ohio State, but I want to hear from y'all who you think is going to finish with the #1 overall class. So with all that being said, let's hop straight into it. And yeah, kind of like I just said, I'll go through the top 10, and we'll kind of pick out some areas where there could be some movement and where I think there's some intrigue. Starting with #1, we have Alabama, which is of no surprise to anybody. #2 is Ohio State, 3 Georgia, 4 Clemson, 5 LSU, 6 Oregon, 7 Texas A&M, 8 USC, 9 Notre Dame, and 10 Oklahoma. Now, I asked the question if any of you think Ohio State can pass Alabama for the #1 spot in this class. And there is a path for Ohio State to do it, but I don't think it's very likely, and I'll explain why right now. So Alabama and Ohio State are currently fighting for the top uncommitted player in the nation, JT Tuimoloau. JT Tuimoloau is the #3 player in the nation, and whoever gets him is getting an absolute incredible playmaker. But the thing is Ohio State is also in the running for former 5-star inside linebacker Rayshawn Davis. Now, Rayshawn Davis might not carry the 5-star moniker anymore, but he is every bit the playmaker and every bit the athlete of any other 5-star in this nation. Let's not get it confused. But the interesting thing, Ohio State fans, is even if Alabama was to land nobody else in this class, according to 24/7 Sports, their rating is at a 323.66 to Ohio State's 310.39. If Ohio State was to land both JT Tuimoloau and Rayshawn Davis, and Alabama was to land nobody, well, Ohio State, you would still be short, actually. Alabama would still be 323.66, and Ohio State would go up to a 320.62, meaning you're going to need more than just Rayshawn Davis and JT Tuimoloau. I don't think we really have put into perspective what an incredible recruiting class this has been for Alabama when a team like Ohio State could get 2 top 50 players in the nation, being the #2 class in the nation, and still not be able to overpass Alabama. Now, I did say there is a path. In my opinion, the most likely path is someone is going to have to not end up signing with Alabama, and the only player that I think would make the discernible difference, who's kind of still on the fence, even though I don't believe they're on the fence, I talked about this yesterday, I believe it's a lock to Alabama, but just for this argument's sake, Kamar Wheaton. If Kamar Wheaton was to, let's say, go to Oklahoma, Ohio State would have a path to pass Alabama, but this is also assuming Alabama doesn't land JT Tuimoloau, of which it seems to be a 50-50 split between Alabama and Ohio State. Alabama fans, also, you're in the running for Terrion Arnold, and if you were to land Terrion Arnold and JT Tuimoloau, you would go up to a 329.02, but just landing Terrion Arnold alone would pretty much well ensure the #1 recruiting class in the nation is tied up. I really don't think there's enough for Ohio State to take it away at that point if you were just to land Terrion Arnold alone. So Alabama, I believe, is going to shore it up. But let's talk about the back end. Let's talk about this 8, 9, and 10, because some things stand out to me. First, OU and Clemson are the only 2 programs in the top 10 without 20 recruits. Now, Clemson, fair enough, you have 19. That's very close. Still very impressive that you're top 10 under 20 recruits. OU, on the other hand, is a really impressive situation right now because they have 16 recruits. And if you've kept up with recruiting, it's, in my opinion, incredibly impressive that OU has been able to do what they've been able to do this year because they went all in on a few different 5-star guys and missed on most of them. They went all in on Kamar Wheaton. They went all in on Tristan Lay. They went all in on Emeka Egbuka, lost them all, and still, with only 16 players in this class, are sitting in a top 10 position. Now, Florida, you're just outside at 12, Miami is at 11, and right now you are competing with Alabama for Terrion Arnold. However, even if you do land Terrion Arnold, you would technically have enough points to pass OU, but I don't think you will, because OU will undoubtedly be getting another player on National Signing Day, which will just add to their point total, which I think OU will end up passing Notre Dame. And so Florida, Miami, you're really fighting Notre Dame to launch yourself into the top 10, because I firmly believe Oklahoma will sign someone else. I don't believe they're going into the next year recruiting cycle only signing 16 players in this class. That just doesn't seem likely to me. They have some guys that they're eyeing. I think they get it, and they end up passing Notre Dame. The other thing I find interesting, speaking of Notre Dame, is there's only 2 institutions in the top 10 without a 5-star, and that is Oregon and Notre Dame. Now, Oregon fans, fair play to you, because Troy Franklin was a 5-star, and now he is just outside 5-star range, and I still believe he is a 5-star. He plays like a 5-star. He's a 5-star athlete. But you have 2 or 3 guys that arguably are 5-stars. You have Ty Thompson coming in, who I've been very high on. If y'all are new to the channel, go back and check out some of my videos talking about Ty Thompson, because I think that he is going to be a young star. His film is super impressive to me. But nonetheless, Oregon doesn't have a 5-star, Notre Dame doesn't have a 5-star. Like I said, Oregon has a few guys that could be 5-stars. Notre Dame is doing this off of numbers alone. And in fact, Notre Dame is the only program within the top 10 that doesn't have an average player ranking of a 90 or above. Everybody else does. So I think that the movement that could be had on the back end is going to revolve around Notre Dame and what they're able to do, because their class is pretty much already full. They have 27 recruits, and in Oklahoma only having 16 recruits looks to make some moves on National Signing Day. And I actually even think Florida will probably end up surpassing Notre Dame. Florida, if they even get 2 signees on National Signing Day, will probably be vaulted into top 10 range. Now, to close this video, I think that there are 2 teams I'd like to focus on that have really been impressive in this recruiting cycle for what they've been able to do. The first, and it goes without saying, is the University of Alabama. I'm not being a homer when I say this. I cannot value the how great this recruiting class is. Whether it is the greatest recruiting class of all time, whether it contains the greatest offensive line class of all time, this class was ranked 55th in April and is now the far and away #1 class in the nation. That is incredible. And Georgia fans, if you remember, and I hope some of you will, back months ago when I made my first top 10 video as the season really got kicked off, I had actually projected a path for y'all to get inside the top 5. I said I didn't know how likely it was, but there is a real path, and it happened. I even had some pushback saying from Georgia fans that didn't think it was very likely, but the type of program y'all are, the type of recruits that are drawn to Georgia for why they're drawn to Georgia, for the style of play Georgia does, it made sense, and I didn't see a situation where you were sitting outside the top 10, and now you're sitting at number 3, and like I said, no surprise at the top 5 classes in the nation being Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, and LSU. That's going to do it for this video, y'all. Like I said, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, that way anytime I'm uploading, you'll know. I got a lot of stuff planned for the coming weeks. Like the video and comment down below who you think is going to be able to do some movement on the back end of this National Signing Day, and whether or not you think Alabama has sealed up the #1 class in the nation. That's it. See ya.